Welcome back to the Research Finance Education Series. This video will walk you through how to complete a recurring payment form and the backups that are required. First, why is it important? Completing a recurring payment form is a great way to save time in administration when the same payment is required to the same person or vendor over a defined period. With this added convenience, there is added scrutiny and backup for approval. Often, our financial auditors and finance team will review the recurring payments to ensure the payments are as intended. The recurring payment form is prepared by the business and reviewed by finance and hospital leadership team. This is to ensure the information is completed by an individual closest to the business and reviewed by an individual at arm's length. Often, recurring payments are preferred over lump sum payments. This mitigates the risk of the payee or recipient leaving their role but having received a full year of stipend. The remainder of this video will detail how to complete the recurring form. You can find the corresponding recurring payment form on the Research Finance website. A link is provided at the bottom of this video. Guiding principles. The preparer should 1. Complete the form fully. Complete the form on a computer for legibility. Ensure the appropriate sign-off is determined by the total value of the payments, not the monthly or semi-annual value of each payment. For those recurring payment forms related to research, ensure that those are sent to the ORA at 250 Yonge on the 6th floor for review. For trust-related requests, ensure that they are sent to the trust accountant at 250 Yonge on the 6th floor. Once reviewed and approved, the corresponding finance individual will send it to accounts payable for processing. Here we will discuss the purpose of each section on the recurring payment form. On the top side of the form, you can mention the individual or vendor or medical practice corporation receiving the payment. If another organization, such as SMHA, is receiving the money and managing the funds on behalf of an MPC, you can mention that information here. Next, make sure you indicate the payment terms, the dates related, the payment method, EFT is the preferred method, and the payment value. Keep in mind that the payment value is not the total payment. It is either the monthly or the quarterly or semi-annual amount that accounts payable will pay. Next section, you can mention the HST number for the MPC or vendor or the SIN number for the individual, depending on who is receiving the payment. Next, you want to mention the frequency of the payment, the financial coding related for this payment, essentially the accounting unit, the account sub-account, and the activity that is supporting this payment. Next, you want to briefly describe the purpose of the payment. And lastly, you want to ensure you have the appropriate sign-off for this recurring payment form. This is the second page of the recurring payment form. The first section, you want to repeat who is receiving or who is the awardee of the award. So if it's a physician or an individual, you want to mention that name here. This is not to be confused with the person managing the money, such as SMHA. Next, you want to reiterate the amount per payment. This will be tying to what we have on page 1. Next, you can mention the planned payment dates. You can mention up to 24 payments. Include periods that have passed to tie to page 1. So for example, if the award began in April, but the form is actually completed in June, you want to make sure you enter April in this table. Corresponding backup and details when submitting the recurring payment form. Payee details are correct and complete. This can include the address and the name of the recipient. Payment terms detail are accurate and complete. The dollar value detail is accurate and complete. The EFT form is accurate and complete. Ensure that you have an HST number provided for business recipients. A SIN number is included for individual recipients. Payment terms are indicated, either monthly, quarterly, or semi-annually, etc. Ensure that the coding is complete. The description of payment is provided. Signatures are obtained by the business director or manager approval for this recurring payment form. And ensure that research or trust finance has also approved the document. On page 2, the payment schedule is clear and accurate. And also ensure you include the invoice or award letter that is available. Electronic fund transfers are the preferred method for payments when the recipient has a Canadian bank account. This will ensure payments are more timely and accurate. It is good practice to include this form every time to ensure payments details are up to date. Award letters. Details revolving around the payee or recipient. Ensure that the individual or vendor receiving the award ties between the award letter and the form. Also ensure the document is legible. Often, payments may be made to a medical practice corporation or individual. This will dictate how the remainder of this form will flow. If the money is managed for an individual or MPC, ensure that both parties are mentioned accordingly. Often, St. Michael's Hospital Medical Services Association may handle a physician's invoice. Ensure that the award letter and both schedules on the recurring form tie. If there is a misunderstanding between the financial sponsor and awardee, the business must clarify this difference. Finance and accounts payable, unfortunately, will not investigate on behalf of the business. Ensure payment terms between the award letter and both schedules on the recurring form tie. If there is a misunderstanding between the financial sponsor and awardee, the business must clarify this. Finance and accounts payable, unfortunately, will not investigate on behalf of the business. If the award letter mentions a start date of the payment in the past, accounts payable is able to pay prior periods in lump sum to catch up on payments owed. Ensure the payment terms between the award letter and recurring payment form mirror each other. If the vendor or individual receiving the payment has an HST or SIN number, tax must be applied to the payment. To determine if the tax value should be included in the award amount or on top of the awarded amount, that will depend on the funding available and the terms of the award. Keep in mind that the recipient must remit the tax portion to the government. To determine this, the following are calculations to determine the tax. Please pause the video to review if needed. Tax implications to an individual. If the payment is made to an individual, the individual's SIN number must be provided on the document. HST of 13% does not need to be applied to this payment. Accounts payable will make mention of this payment and issue a T4A slip. Tax implications to a vendor or medical practice corporation. If the payment is made to an MPC or a vendor with a registered HST number, there will be tax implications. Ensure you consider the tax implications of HST 13% for the payment. Also ensure the HST registration number is included on the recurring payment form. Payments to SMHA and subsequently to a non-medical practice corporation. Often, SMHA pays to the doctor and the doctor is not tax registered. meaning they do not have a medical practice corporation. In that case, do not include the HST in the recurring amount. The tax amount is not required. Simply put the amount mentioned in the letter, or the award letter. SMHA will remit any payroll taxes during the payment on their end. Payments to SMHA and subsequently to an NPC. Unity Health Toronto pays SMHA and subsequently SMHA pays to the doctor through their NPC. In this case, include the HST in the recurring amount. The preparer must indicate in the recurring payment form that the physician has an NPC. Handwritten corrections. Any handwritten corrections must be signed by all approval officers. Research Finance, Trust Accounting, and Accounts Payable reserves the right to return recurring payment forms to the preparer if deemed illegible, inconsistent with the award letter or invoice, and/or suspects changes were made subsequent to sign-off. Corrections should be made through the computer. The required signing approval is determined by the overall payment during the course of the term, not just the single monthly payment. Please refer to the signing authority policy to determine if a second signature or if you need a director or C-level executive to approve the payment. If you have any questions about this presentation, please contact your research financial analyst, trust accountant, or researchfinance@smh.ca. Thanks for watching.